Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is ASO Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading, we are going to be looking at what makes you attractive to other people, what makes people fall in love with you, and most importantly, why are you so damn fine? I am so excited to get into this pick a card reading today. As you can see, we have 6 piles and no crystals. That's for a very good reason. It's because I am being super mean to all of you and forcing you to pick a pile or piles based on your own intuition. I know, so evil. You're gonna have to rely on your gut for this one, but I believe in you. You can do it. I promise you'll find your pile. So we have 6 today. We have pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, pile 4, pile 5, and pile 6. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It's absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one pile. Just do what works for you. Don't stress yourself out too much. I'm here to gas y'all up. That's really all I wanted to do today. So once you've picked your pile or piles, you can scroll down to the description box or the comment section where I will have all the timestamps listed below, and then we will get into your reading. Hi there, pile 1. If you guys chose pile 1, wow, I'm so used to saying a crystal. I almost went into that routine, but if you chose pile 1, hello, so happy you're here. We are going to start with your tarot cards and look at what makes you so attractive. So something that was really interesting when I was setting up your cards, the song Your Love by Nicki Minaj started playing in my head, and especially the part where it's like, you know, like, Shawty, I'm only tell you this once, but you're the E-list. Like, I don't know, I think Spirit had something to say, because I definitely am getting the vibe that this pile really does not see their own value. And I think that this is actually being showcased in terms of what makes you attractive from the perspective of people that know you really intimately or wish that they could. I think what's really interesting is that you probably have a more, I want to say the word demure, but it's just, you have more of a timid and quiet presence, which is actually really interesting, because I think that for some people, they might look at you and think like, oh, there's not a whole lot going on in pile 1's head. And it's funny because that's the exact opposite. You guys have such a deep and rich inner world that it's so easy for you to get lost in it. And I think only the people that are closest to you realize that. And so I think that's partially why this is being showcased here. But other than that, one thing that's really attractive about you guys is that you are a little bit mysterious. And I think that for people that are interested in you, it kind of leaves them wanting more. I also think that there's maybe a tendency for people that are interested in you to maybe project the qualities that they would ideally like from a person onto you, which might be kind of frustrating at times, but I think that just kind of goes to show how you really don't let people in on your personality unless you actually start to trust them. And so that leads to danger for those other people who start projecting, because it's so easy for them to kind of mentally mold you into what they wish you were, and then come up with this fantasy in their head. And it's kind of funny because, like, you have no idea about any of this, but I think that people really, because you don't give away a lot, people like to fantasize about what might be going on inside that head of yours. I think one thing that people find kind of cute about you is the fact that you are, you know, a little bit more like timid or shy or quiet, but I definitely don't think that you're like that around everybody. I just definitely think when you're in like a public space and you're not really in your element, then you're definitely very just like chilling in your corner, essentially. But I think one thing that people really admire about you, and I don't know if this comes out in like the type of work that you produce, but I feel like you have a really good sense for like aesthetics, and that shows, but also you tend to have a very optimistic outlook. And what's interesting is that I'm even picking up on the fact that for some of you, that optimistic outlook applies to anything and everything other than you. So I think that Spirit's kind of calling you out on that, because it's so easy for you to see all the beautiful things in the world, but it's really hard for you to see those beautiful things in yourself. And I think that Spirit right away is kind of wanting to call you out, because you really are holding yourself back and holding your gifts and your talents back. And I know this is supposed to be about what's attractive, but sometimes when spirit gets going, like they just have thoughts. I think one thing, like especially if you've dated people in the past or anything like that, they might think it's really cute how tired you are. Like especially if you sleep a lot or you fall asleep a lot. I think they find that really adorable. And I think that when you do get really close to people, you're the type of person, like, you're not a very flaky or flimsy friend. Like, sure, you might cancel on somebody if you're not feeling great one day, but once somebody gets kind of past your walls and you truly let them in, like, they're typically a friend forever because you are a pretty good judge of character. I actually think that your worst enemy is your brain. And so maybe you might want to let that chill a little bit because there's a lot of really cool imaginative stuff going on inside there that I feel like you're stifling out of fear. But that's not about that. So other things, I think that you might have a really good way with words when you do actually speak up. And I think it kind of takes people aback, like they're kind of surprised. Because I think it's really easy for people when they see somebody quiet to just be like, oh, you know, whatever, they're shy, they're quiet. They, for some reason, assume not a lot's going on in there, which is the exact opposite. But sometimes they might look at you and think that, not that you're not capable, but like they just might expect less from you. And I think that when you do show up and you do like whatever it is that you're supposed to do, you really impress people. And I think they're like, wow, people's first impressions of you are often not as good as what they think of you after they've known you for a little while. And that's literally, and none of this is your fault. I mean, you could be guilty of somebody having like a resting bitch face, or something like that. You know, if people tell you to smile more, just growl at them. But other than that, like, you might also have a really unique way, like if you wear makeup, of doing your makeup. So people might like that. And if you have glasses as well, I think that people might really enjoy that about you. But yeah, I think that you also have a soft spot for like kids and animals and just like sweet, happy things. Like you might like Disney or something like that. And I think people find that attractive about you as well, because I think that that kind of showcases the really kind soul that you have inside of you. And I think a lot of the reason why you don't express yourself more is because you just think that nobody really cares and nobody wants to hear it. But I'm here to tell you, buddy, that's not true. You got a lot of ideas going on, and we're going to talk about that. So another attribute that you have is pioneer, a passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. And then we have mother, nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. So you don't have to be a literal mother, but I do think that if you are one, people do find that you are a very good parent, whether it's a pet parent, a plant parent, or the human kind of parent. I feel like people see you as somebody just very kind and very nurturing, kind of going back to that 10 of Cups card. People see you as somebody who, you know, it might seem like you're quiet and aloof, but you actually have just the sweetest soft spot for anything that isn't an asshole. I was like trying to think, I was like, of small and tiny things, but I also, like, you're also the type of person that would be really sweet to like elderly people and like basically anybody that's just not in a position like to be in their full power. Like, you are just a nurturing, kind person, and I feel like you are very respectable of not only human life but any life, like plant life. I think you could be a very environmentally conscious, and that's something that people like. But yeah, you have this really gentle, nurturing energy that a lot of people love, and they know that if they get your love, then they're a really lucky person because you don't freely give it out to everybody. But moving on to this pioneer card, I really love this pioneer card because I think it goes to show how awesome your ideas are that you're really not paying attention to. And I think the problem is that you think your ideas are dumb or bad because they're not what you see. And I'm here to tell you right now, dog, that that's not true. Like, this is what makes you awesome. These cool ideas that you have in your head, these are actually like spirit wants you to act on these things, because I feel like you have a lot of fears of standing out from people at times. I think that you do crave stability. You know, we have a lot of even numbers here. And I think that at times it might scare you to put yourself out there in the public eye. And I think that people that are attracted to you find that kind of cute, but then they like get to know you and they're like, oh my gosh, like, you're brilliant. Like, you have all these cool creative ideas. Like, why aren't you acting on them? And I feel like, honestly, you're just going to reach a point naturally where you become less afraid of doing that. But I mean, if you haven't heard that encouragement to act on the ideas that you have, you really should, because just because they're different doesn't mean that they're bad. Different is cool and different is interesting, and you're here for a reason, and your ideas are happening for a reason. So you really should listen to those. But other things that make you attractive are anxiety. We have the anxiety card here naturally, and priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? So I don't think that anyone is like, oh my gosh, like pile one, they're so cute and anxious, like their anxiety is adorable. Like, everybody knows that anxiety isn't adorable, but I think that when people look at you, they just find it kind of funny, like not in like a mean way, but they find it interesting that you doubt yourself so much, because you do have so much potential and so much power. And I think with this priestess card here, it's like everybody can see it but you. And I feel like people that are into you find that very adorable, and they kind of hope that they can like have a hand in maybe changing your perspective on how you see yourself, because you really deserve to see yourself in a better light than you do. And what's interesting is that with this priestess card here, I feel like when a lot of people see you, they see somebody that's going to be very successful in life. And maybe you might not see that, but they look at you and they're like, oh, they're going to have like a happily ever after one day. Like, they're going to have a really good life. And you might not believe that, but that's what people see. And I just love that we have this pioneer and this priestess card, because I feel like your emotional fulfillment is going to come from you actually expressing these creative desires. If you've shared like any art or any things that you've created or written, or even like just done for work with people, I think they've been really impressed by your skill and by your talent. And I think that's something else that like people find very attractive about you. I also think that maybe you sit in a way like you sit with your arms crossed a lot, or you just kind of have this closed off body language, and I feel like it gives people this impression like, oh, I wonder why like pile one's acting like that. Like, I want to get to know pile one more. And I feel like there's this, people might feel fear around you sometimes, which you might find hilarious, because you're like, what? Like, why would they be afraid of me? Like, I'm afraid of everything. And same, it's fine. But, you know, everyone's like afraid of everything, basically. And so because you kind of have this aloof, mysterious presence, people are like, because they're not sure what they're gonna get, they get kind of like nervous, like, oh, does this person hate me? Like, does pile one, do they not want anything to do with me? So I do think that you actually create anxiety in people, because they have a hard time knowing what you're thinking, and you're not very expressive about what's going on. So I think that leads people to be kind of afraid of like what you might be thinking of them. But I also think that a lot of people see in you just this powerful leader, and somebody that could really just kick ass in life in general. And so I think that's something to be aware of. But we'll look at this more, because we also have the crocodile and the sea serpent. So this is kind of a random message, but I don't know if you have a lot of romantic interests, but I feel like a lot of people want to get to know you better, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how many of them like want to actually come forward, but I feel like a lot of people that see you in passing are just like really interested in getting to know you more. And I mean, you could have like a very specific look that's like kind of aggressive, not in like a bad way, but just like maybe you wear a lot of black, or you accessorize with a lot of like, oh, I'm trying to think of the word. I'm literally picturing it right now. It's like that chain link designs. I don't know why I was seeing that, but you might have a very particular aesthetic. But I think one thing that adds to the mysteriousness of you, pile one, is that you do just like disappear from the world at times, and people are like, where did pile one go? Like, social media blank, not in your typical places. And it's all strategic, because I feel like you guys, pile one, are textbook introverts, where that doesn't mean that you don't enjoy socializing, but at the end of the day, the way you recharge is by going within and like having alone time and being able to process the day. And so I think a lot of people that find you interesting, like romantically, really like that aspect about you, because if you're dating someone or you're with someone, you guys can just spend that quality time together, like chilling out at home. And I think that a lot of people find that attractive about you, that you know, you don't always have to be going out and having a good time to have fun. Like, you're just a fun person to be around. Like, you can make anything a paradise, like when the right people are around you, because they just have so much fun with you. But we also have the sea serpent here. So I got a specific message. You might be very good at doing things in the bedroom, and that's something that Spirit wants me to comment on. So snaps to that shit, pile one. But I mean, yeah, pile one. But another thing that's really awesome about you guys is that this is representing the sacral chakra. So I think like immediately a lot of people find you just very, very attractive right off the bat. Like in a like, I want to take pile one to the bone zone type of way. Like which is kind of shitty, because like it's not like, oh, I really want to get to know pile one for their personality, but I just think that you naturally attract a lot of people that really just want to get to know you in that way. But I think this also speaks to the immense creative abilities that you have. And you've also healed from a lot, pile one. I want to mention, you guys have been doing a lot, and I think that you might feel like you're not as healed as you think you should be. And trust me, Spirit's saying that you're fine. You're doing a great job, and you don't need to worry about that as much. Do all the healing that you need to do, but don't be hard on yourself for not being like as healed as you think you should be. You know, healing isn't linear and progress isn't linear, and you really should just be patient with yourself, because I think that you are a little bit harder on yourself than you realize. And I think the reason why I'm like having to talk about this in this reading is because it's apparent to everyone else that you are too hard on yourself. And I think that actually just might be hard for people to watch, because they're seeing somebody with so much potential and such like awesome array of creative abilities and such a cool imagination really just like doubt yourself and like doubt your abilities. And I don't know, the people in your life that love you just don't want to see that happen, when you really could just blow the house down with your abilities. But finally, we have these two cards, these oracle cards. So we have Cosmic Exploration and Your Light. So one thing that people find attractive about you, you might really love traveling, or you might be well traveled. So if you talk about that, or you just have like fun, interesting stories, I think people love hearing about that. But if not, I think that you attract specific types of people that you have similar interests in. Like, it could be space, or like conspiracy theories, or just interesting things that you like to go into thought holes about. I don't think that thought holes is a word, but I think that the people that you really connect with because you have like interesting ideas, and you kind of bond over being misunderstood. And so I think that a lot of people that are attracted to you just really love how like out there you are, like with your ideas. Because I mean, they know that you don't express them to everyone, so they definitely feel special knowing that you're willing to open up to them and tell them about like just what's going on in your head, and like the theories that you're thinking about, and stuff like that. But I think the most important one here is your light. And I think that at the end of the day, pile one, you guys have a good heart. You have a good soul. And I think that, you know, it's really hard just living life. And we get hurt and shit like that. And you haven't let go of that. And you might think that you have, but you haven't, because other people can definitely see it. And there is this light that radiates from you, whether you realize it or not, that is kind of like the core of your like introspective, silly, goofy self. Like, people love your true, authentic self, and it really deserves to shine more, because it might be a candle right now, but I mean, honestly, ideally, just me personally and spirit would like to see this light turn into like a flame torch thing, and I just want you to radiate your personality all over everything, because you are so awesome and you have like this ridiculously cool inner world that you really should be sharing with other people, because I think it would be a blessing, and I think that your ideas could make the world a brighter place. And yeah, you just deserve to be nicer to yourself, because you're doing a lot better than you think you are. And yeah, you guys are really great. So just to leave this reading off, I am going to pull a little message from the universe for you guys, which I think you guys got two, but that works for me. This doesn't have to be related to being attractive. I just, you know, wanted to make sure spirit got all the messages out. So the first one we have is ups and downs. I see life as an incredible ride, and I'm lucky to be on it. Yes, the ups and downs make me want to puke sometimes, but they're also what make things fun and interesting. And when you look back, even puking on yourself makes for a good story. And then we have vitality. I am healthy and vital and strong. My radiant love of life fills me with healthy, vital, and strong cells. Each cell is a warrior. Everyone has its own sword and shield. I dare you to try and penetrate my cellular army. Didn't think so, chump. Yeah, you're a bad bitch. And if you don't think it, pile one, you need to take a long look in the mirror and work some stuff out, because you are not seeing yourself clearly, and you've really got some special gifts to share with the world. So I am going to leave this reading here, pile one. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how it resonates. I would love to hear. And if you would like to join this little fam, go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified every time I upload, you can hit that little bell button. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love if you left it a like. It would make me so happy. But yeah, this is all I have to say. So thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to read your cards. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this. And I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile two. If you guys chose pile two, damn it, I did this in the first pile too. You know, I really pulled a fast one on you guys not doing crystals, but then I pulled a fast one on myself by not knowing what to say in the beginning anymore. But you know what? You live and you learn. So looking at you guys, you are very, very interesting. And what I was noticing as I was putting your cards out, which we have more cards to get into, but we're just going to start with your tarot, is that you definitely... Okay, first of all, I heard "you know my name, not my story" when I was like putting these cards out. But then at the same time, pile two, if I'm going to be honest with you, you kind of wear your story a little bit if you don't realize it. And this might not be evident to everyone. Maybe it's just evident to me because I am a reader. But we have a bit of a heartbreaker on our hands, and I honestly think the worst part about it is that on your end, a lot of it is unintentional, because you're actually quite emotionally intelligent. And what I think is interesting here is you could have like an air-water combination in your chart, or you could just be, you could have very astute emotional senses. But you have this really, really rich amount of emotional depth and maturity to you that not a lot of people see. And so I think for the people that have seen it, they are very, very impressed by that. And what I think is very interesting is that this progression of cards tells two different stories depending on how close the person is to you. So if somebody's really close to you, then I would say that they're attracted to you because of how much you've been able to move on and grow from your struggles. You really have a huge heart that, of course, you protect now, but at the end of the day, you've done a lot of healing and you've done a lot of growing and maturing. And like, you've earned this position on this throne as a King of Cups because you really have worked your ass off to get there and healed from a lot. And it hasn't been easy for you. And so one thing that I think a lot of people find attractive about you if they know you very well is because you are so different from what you put off as. Like you have this really cute nature about you that's like inquisitive. It can be chatty and witty, but then at the same time you have this really wise old soul that maybe doesn't come out all the time, but it definitely comes out at the right times. And I almost wonder if sometimes you'll say things and you won't even know where they came from. That's typically because spirit hijacked your brain for like a hot sec to deliver some kind of message. But I think you're actually delivering messages to people from spirit on the reg without even realizing it. But for people who don't really know you very well, they would definitely look at you more as this Page of Swords. Someone very funny, inquisitive, interesting, maybe on the go a lot. If not, somebody that's just very interested in like lots of different things. You might be particularly interested in like different cultures or traveling the world or something like that. But I definitely think some people might see you as a heartbreaker because you friend zone people, which that phrase is such an eye roll. But I feel like people become attracted to you and you have done nothing to warrant that. And you might be aware of it, but I think that you know how to act naive so that you can be like oblivious to a person that might be romantically interested in you. And I think that from your perspective, you enjoy their friendship and don't want to have to deal with the awkward thing of addressing that. And so I think in your mind, you're just like, well, I'm just going to pretend like it doesn't exist and hope at some point it goes away. So I definitely think that some people have gotten their hearts broken because, you know, they wanted something more with you that they couldn't have. But I think for the people that have really taken their time to get to know you and earn your respect, they've gotten to see this really cool emotional depth that you have and really see how far you've come and how well earned your wisdom and your maturity and your emotional sensitivities are. You know, people might look at you from a casual standpoint and be like, oh, you know, whatever, they're just silly, they're just goofy. They might look at you as kind of surface level, but you're not surface level at all. Those are just people that don't really care enough to look deeper. And honestly, Pile 2, you guys definitely have a bit of a wall up that makes it difficult for people to just like try to get to know you, I guess. And they might have this idea like, I guess what I'm trying to pinpoint is that when people are talking to you, it depends on the person who is talking to you, but people either get this Page of Swords or they get this King of Cups. And typically the people that are closer to you or the people that you're interested in romantically get this King of Cups, but most people get this Page of Swords. But the cool thing is that you're still both. And so you have this really fun mixture of youthful, happy energy. You know, this is somebody who can be young at any age, but also, you know, somebody who has the depth and maturity and wisdom to do right by people and to be kind and also like not manipulative or anything like that. But you definitely have overcome a lot of heartbreak, and I think some people can see that and they can. Essentially what I'm trying to say is that these cards really make a lot of sense because you definitely protect that deeper emotional side to you, but the people that do get to see it feel so lucky. So moving on into some of your archetypes, we have the Lover, great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something, and Prince, romantic charm and potential for power. And I love this because I think this totally explains the dynamic that you have going with different types of people, because I think that you have a way of being very, not even flirtatious, but just charming and like funny and witty without even realizing it. And so I think a lot of people, just on that note, see you as somebody very desirable because you're just interesting to be around, and they can have conversations with you. But for the people who are lucky enough to get this King of Cups side of you, they really get to see a part of you that they know is special and that they know not everybody gets. And so you have like just the ability to be very loyal and very caring and very loving and understanding and emotionally supportive. And I think that's just part of what makes you such a great person, and like such a great person to have as a partner or somebody to be around. And I think it's kind of interesting because it shows like people might be interested in you for superficial reasons at first, but then they might get to know you more and realize, wow, like, okay, pile 2, they don't just have the looks, they don't just have like the gift of the gab, like they also have this really loving and loyal heart that they protect because it's been hurt, but also because they know it's not meant for just anybody. Not anybody is worthy of your love. Like somebody special has to be worthy of your love. And that's why you just sit and chill and you wait for somebody right to come into your life, because you are not willing to sacrifice your wants and your needs for just any doofus on the street. And I think that makes people really find you attractive because they know that you're not just going around like, you're hard to get essentially, and you might play that way, but you might play that way without realizing it. But I guess people find that attractive about you. Looking at some, what was that? Did you guys hear a ringing, or was that in my ear? I just heard like a bell. Anyway, looking at some more of your cards. We have the 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron. I might accidentally say Megatron, so if I do, I'm sorry. And Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. And I really love this because, first of all, as a King of Cups, you do have a developed psychic ability, but I think that it's actually, the more you're like opening yourself up to people and being willing to break down some of your walls, the more your psychic abilities increase, which I think is very interesting. But Spirit is definitely saying that you have an uncanny ability to know, like, almost immediately whether somebody's worth your time or not. But I think that there is part of this is just Spirit saying how proud they are of you, because you have really overcome a lot of stuff, you know, with Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, past lives. You really have been doing a lot of healing in this lifetime, and it really is helping you see your own self-worth. And so that in turn is making you even more attractive to the outside eye, because you appear to be somebody that has it together. You might not feel like you have it together, but you give off that appearance. And I think that you're able to know things or just sense things about people that don't make logical sense. And so I think some people are like, pile 2 is a little freaky. Like, how'd they figure that one out? But yeah, a lot of people just see you, and there's something a little bit magical, a little bit mystical about you. And I almost feel like you are able to find the right words, and you might not even know how, because like you might sit down to write something and nothing comes to you, but all of a sudden, you know, if somebody's upset or you're in a situation where you just really need to turn on the charm, like it happens. It's almost like a spiritual gift in that sense, where you just know exactly what to say. So I think that's really cool. And I feel like people from afar, especially people from like your hometown or people that you've known since you were very young, they see how far you've come, and I think that some of them are jealous. I'm not gonna lie, like some of them are just jealous. Let them, haters be hating. But for others, I definitely think that there is I feel like people might see you, like people that you meet now or like in the recent past, they'll find out about your childhood and just be really impressed by how far you've come. So there's this obvious like progression of did I just really almost say progression of progress? Of course it's a progression of progress, but yeah, you guys have grown a lot, and you're learning from your mistakes, you're learning from the past, and you're becoming this really really awesome person who has a great amount of emotional maturity, but also is not afraid to get down and just have some fun. Speaking of, let's get into your next tarot card. So we also have Owl and we have Zebra, which these aren't tarot cards, these are oracle cards. I'm a filthy liar, I'm sorry. But I love the zebra because the zebra talks about, one, you being well traveled or having an interest in traveling. And I think that's one thing that people like about you. But I also think that you either have a unique look about you or you have a really good sense of style. I'm almost thinking of like an Aquarius rising or a Libra rising or a Taurus rising. Maybe Pisces. I don't know. I was just thinking of a couple different rising signs, but with the owl here, that speaks to clairvoyance for sure. And like just the fact that you do have this really wise, mature energy about you that you sometimes might not even know where it comes from, especially if you're on the younger side. But a lot of you might, especially if you have just gone through a lot in life and you have earned that wisdom. But I feel like people know that they can't lie to you, and like you almost see through their soul. Like I'm looking at this owl and this zebra and they're both like looking at me and they're staring at me, and I'm just like, can you guys stop staring at me? Like I'm almost a little bit uncomfortable. Like I feel like people get intimidated when you're like looking at them. They're like, oh my god, like pile 2 is looking at me, like what do I do? Like act natural. Because like this equal parts funny, smart, cool, stylish person that is very attractive is like looking at them, and they're, I don't know, they're just blown away by it. But yeah, you have this really awesome sense of wisdom about you, but at the same time you're able to maintain this childlike wonder for the world, and that really just makes you the total package. I'm not gonna lie. Like you really have grown into a person that you should be really proud of, because you know we all gotta start somewhere. We all have trials and tribulations, and you will have more, and as everyone will. But I definitely think that you've learned how to keep the parts of yourself that, one, make you uniquely you and just make you fun and awesome, but learn how to improve the aspects of yourself that maybe hold you back or make you act in ways that don't really align with who you want to be. And so I think you just have a really good sense of like self-regulation and knowing when to like turn things down or like calm yourself down. You just have a really good sense of like how to act, and you guys act right. So and maybe you haven't in the past, but I think even when you haven't, like you're learning how to correct that, and I think that's really awesome. I think people might have a hard time, honestly, being around you because you might make them nervous, or you're just like very unique and attractive and smart, and like people know like if they have your attention, they got something going for them, because it's hard for people to get your attention. I feel like you seem perpetually like unbothered by people, and that's not true. We're all bothered by things, but the way people look at you, they're just like, oh wow, you know, like this person is looking in my direction. What? Wild. But finally, looking at your oracles, we have a number 47, protects your heart, and number 36, predictions of growth. So I feel like I already talked about this. I really shot myself in the foot with that one. But I think what I love here is that this just really goes to show, one, that you guys have grown and you're going to continue growing, and people look at you and they're like, well, that's somebody that's on the success train, destination, super success island. Well, shit, no, trains can't go to islands. They built a bridge with train tracks on it, okay? Anyway, yeah, people see how far you've come and how much potential you still have, and they're like, damn, we better back up for pile 2. But also with this protect your heart, you know, they know that your heart is something very special, and you don't just give it to anybody. And so I think one thing that people find attractive about you is that you're starting to know your worth a lot better than you once did. And the reason why I don't just say that you know your worth is because I don't think you completely see it yet. I hope that you do, but in the event that you don't, I feel like I should just mention that You are very worthy of love and affection and gratitude and of wonderful things, and other people can see that as well. But it's important that you see it. And remember that, you are a good example of things happen for you, not to you. You're really taking the tough things that happen to you in life and figuring out how to rise above that and grow and be a better person. And honestly, that's just awesome. Like, you really are. I feel like your guides are just really proud of you. They're really proud of how far you've come. And I know it was supposed to be about what makes you attractive, but sometimes spirit just has thoughts that they want to get out as well. And I think part of what makes you so attractive is that you're starting to see your worth and you're starting to prioritize your needs and the things that you want in life. You're not worried about what other people want. You're worried about you first. And that's really awesome. So to finish off, I'm just going to get you guys a little advice card, a little message from Spirit, and see what they want you to know. So Spirit, what message do you have for pile 2? This probably will be unrelated to attractiveness, but I just want to see what they want you to know. I guess it's this guy. So we have power. I am strong, I am grounded, I am powerful. I am like a cross between a dinosaur and a tank, but not a tank that's used for war. I am like a peaceful, loving dino tank who feels so strong it doesn't need to do anything but be. And I love that because that's so true. Like, that's what that King of Cups is doing. Like, they're not doing anything but just being. And I think that part of your life lessons have been learning how to be okay with just being. But I think that's part of your attractiveness, is the fact that you really have the ability to go with the flow and let things come as they will. And you're not over here trying to control everything. Like, you're just out here vibing. So yeah, I think that's what makes you guys attractive. So I'm going to leave this reading here, pile 2. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through and letting me read your cards. If this resonates, I would definitely love to hear down in the comments how so. And if you like this video, I would love it if you left a like if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't already as well. If you'd like to be notified whenever I upload, definitely hit that little bell. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this reading here. So thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. I literally just said that, oh my god. But I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 3. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. So I already have your tarot cards out for what makes you attractive, but we are going to look at your oracles, but we're going to start with these first. So a couple things before we get started. Have you guys been burping a lot today? Because I burped like 8 times before I laid these cards down, and it was super gross but kind of funny. So just random question. A lot of you are probably like, no, you're just gross. ASO, it's not our problem. But for some of you, I'm just curious. Anyway, other than that, I was also hearing the song We Appreciate Power by Grimes, and I totally get why, because we've got some ballers in this pile, which I'm actually going to move these because they're kind of telling a specific story here, because you definitely did not start out as the Emperor, pile 3, but I am loving that I'm seeing it here. We've got some fiery ass bitches here, especially Aries and Leo. Leo being a fixed energy in the world, but with the world we have Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus as well. But we also have Sagittarius with all 3 of those fire signs. So what makes you guys attractive? First of all, you're very physically attractive. And I definitely think that you have just a naturally, like, I was gonna say sexual, and then I heard phallic, and I'm like, but there are definitely people that don't have those that are watching this. So I don't know if you just have a very overtly masculine energy, no matter what you identify as, but here you make quite a you have quite a presence. Sorry, some people get pissed off when I touch the cards too much. Actually, no, fuck that. Like, they're my cards. I'll touch them as much as I want. Sorry. Okay, anyway. Yeah, you guys are making me feisty and fiery. It's so funny. But anyway, okay, I need to focus. You guys are fighters. Like, do we have some like taekwondoers or jujitsuers in here? Like, I definitely see some of you being very grounded in the 3D and very physical. You might express yourself through physical gestures, or you might just have a very, I'm trying to find the right word, not impressive, but not gregarious. You have just a very powerful presence, I guess is the best way, because I can't think of the word. You have a very powerful presence about you guys. And you're becoming this emperor. And I think that some people, you might already be here, but I feel like for a lot of you, you're in this 7 of Wands energy. Because you see this emperor, and you know that's what you're meant to become. And I think a lot of people, when they look at you, they see that as well. And what's really cool is that I think that if you're not already, you're going to be very successful. And I think that's one thing that attracts a lot of people to you, is that you really could like take over the world if you wanted to. That's if you wanted to. I mean, like, personally, no thanks. But, you know, I feel like just the sky's the limit in terms of how successful you can be and how much you could. I'm literally hearing like rules. So, like, I'm not saying that you could take over a country and rule it, but I'm saying it's not out of the cards. I'm not suggesting that you do that, but I think it just goes to show how powerful you truly are. And what's really awesome is that you guys just have a lot of physical vitality. You have a zest for life, and I hate saying that, but it's and what's funny is that you definitely don't feel like you do, because you definitely have your days where you just feel like shit and you feel like ass, and you're just like, fuck the world, like, I don't want to do anything. But other people see this in you, because I feel like when you're out in public, it's like persona is on, but that it's not like you're being fake. It's not a fake persona. It's just you fully embodying the way you want to be perceived, and your attributes that you value other people seeing. So you know how to turn, that sounds gross. I was gonna say turn yourself on, but I don't mean that. Maybe you do, I don't know. Damn, maybe you're like just that attractive. You look in the mirror and you're just like, wow. Can't relate. Anyway, yeah, people do not want to fuck with you. That's for sure. Like, I'm almost getting like, I'm like, oh my god, pile 3, you guys are making me nervous. You're just so, you have such a charismatic presence. I'm like twirling my hair over here like, hey, pile 3, like, where you at? But yeah, you guys are so fun. And the only reason I feel like I'm cool with being this scattered is because I think that you guys kind of embody that energy too. And I think that you do this to a lot of people, whether you realize it or not. But yeah, you have this really awesome ability to just keep leveling up. And people keep seeing that. And like, people know that you're going to do really big things. If you live in a city, I feel like people know you and you don't even know that people know you. That's how like intense your presence is. You could have like really striking features, like maybe red hair, or you could be tall, or you could have a very powerful voice or something like that. You could have long hair, like really pretty long hair. Like, I'm thinking specifically like brown or black long hair that might be really pretty and striking. But you have an immense amount of creative ability and passion and drive, and that's what helps you become this successful like emperor type figure. So when people look at you, they see someone that's basically destined for success, someone that's very powerful, someone that's has a pretty dominant presence and can be very secure in themselves. And what's really cool is that you are not afraid to face adversity, and you have no problem fighting for what you believe in. And I think that's just really attractive as well. You might be that type of person who just really likes to express themselves physically or through like art or some shit like that. And I think that a lot of people find that attractive about you. And I think one cool thing about you as well is that you have the capabilities of connecting with people from like all different cultures, different areas, just because of like who you are. You're just very personable and approachable. You might be intimidating from afar, but if somebody's sitting down and like talking to you, you're really easy to talk to, and you just have this really warm energy about you that I really like, actually. It's kind of nice. So I definitely think people might be nervous around you at first, but once they actually start talking to you, they're like, oh, okay, like pile three is awesome. So looking at more of your cards now, we have Fool, fearlessly revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. And Midas/Miser, entrepreneurial or creative ability to turn anything to gold, delight in sharing life's riches. So you also have like a work hard, play hard mentality that I think is really awesome. And I also think that you enjoy the finer things in life, which why shouldn't you? And I think that you have this drive to earn those things yourself. Like, you don't just want them to be handed to you or given to you. Like, you want to work really hard and get nice things. And like, you could be an entrepreneur or something like that. I feel like people will definitely see that as attractive because you have that ambition and you have the ability to turn an idea into an empire. And that's like just really cool. And that takes a lot of personal growth and personal power and responsibility. You know, we appreciate power over here. Like, you guys are awesome. But yeah, you definitely have this ability at times, maybe most likely when you drink, or if you don't drink at all, like if you're ever not sober. I'm not promoting any of that, but if you're ever not sober, it might be a little bit more difficult for you to not express your emotions. But I feel like people appreciate that side of you, because I think at times you try to hold on to this very tough persona, and I feel like people wish that they could see just how you're truly feeling more often. And so at times, I almost wonder if people in your life might like provoke you. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but they might provoke you to like get your real emotional reactions. But you can be really funny, and when you trust someone, but at that point, you're not afraid to embrace your emotions and just laugh at like stupid shit. So I think overall you have a pretty good attitude towards other people. Now towards life, I feel like at times you might get really down on yourself and really down on like what you're doing and your abilities. And I feel like Spirit is saying you need to stop doing that. Like, fuck that. You know, you're fine. You're really doing a lot, and you're gonna succeed. Like, you have the ability to turn an idea into gold. So looking at more of your cards, we have action, and we have the ever unfolding rose cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. And so yeah, I definitely think that this makes a lot of sense, because first of all, I definitely do think that you are the type of person to be very action oriented and to really just be a more physical type of person. Like, you probably give really bomb ass hugs, and you could be like a fast runner or really athletic. So if you are, people are into that. But I think your ability to just take action on the ideas that you have and turn them into something real is something that really sets you out apart from a lot of people who stay dreaming of the things that they wish they could do but never really go after them. You have the ability to really shoot for your dreams. And what I think is actually really interesting is that in this card, we have this black horse, then we have this white horse. And I feel like, you know, this is just your shadow side and your light side. And like, your light side is always beating your shadow. Like, I feel like you've reached a point in life where your shadow is definitely winning. This is like Shadow Mirror from Skyrim. But like, you're learning now that life doesn't hate you, and that you can actually like embrace all the changes that happen, because they happen for your growth. And I feel like there are definitely times, and you might actually be in one of them right now, because I was sensing a lot of you kind of being stuck in this Seven of Wands energy. And I think that that's because you kind of just feel like the world is out to get you right now. And I know that's really frustrating and it sucks, but I promise you it's not. And all the challenges that are coming your way right now are to get you to surrender, because I do think that there is still a lot of fear that might be holding you back from really going after things that you want. And I think that all of this is just like boot camp, like spiritual, like boot camp and development to help you become this emperor that you're meant to be, and to help you kind of create that empire that you want and get that bag and have the life that you want. So I think that people like that you're also just kind of go with the flow. Like, even though you have this very powerful presence, you're not somebody that's like, we have to go here and we have to do this. Like, you're not very type A, which is interesting. And that actually might kind of hold you back sometimes, because at times I feel like you just kind of want to live life and have fun. And so I think that there are parts of yourself that are constantly arguing with each other, because one side of you wants to be, you know, conquering your empire, and the other one just wants to hang out with your buddies and have a good time. So I think that maybe one thing you might want to look at is like being nice to yourself when you just want to chill out. Like, you don't have to be in work mode all the time, but yeah, you're going somewhere, you're going places, buddy, and other people can see that, and they're very, very interested in that. And I think that I hate that I'm gonna say this, but like pile 3 fucks, like and I totally just mean that in the sense that like you could be getting a lot of action in the bedroom. If you don't, that's fine. But I think that people are under the impression that you definitely do. Or a lot of people want to like get there with you. I definitely think that you have a very physical presence that a lot of people find attractive and a lot of people are interested in. So moving on, we also have the stingray and the wolf. So water and earth energy here. And I think what's really cool about the stingray is the stingray talks about finally having a spine. And I think that's really important, because I think a lot of you guys do not see your own power now. You definitely didn't before. You're starting to. And that's why I'm like really happy that you guys at least acknowledge that you are really powerful and that you can accomplish a lot. And you are starting to stand up for yourself and go after what you want and like live your own life. But it's definitely taken a lot of trials and tribulations. But people can see that you're gaining confidence in who you are and becoming the person that you're meant to be, and not taking shit. And I think that's really awesome. And I think that that's why a lot of people are attracted to you, because they're like, wow, like, you know, this is somebody confident and like powerful and strong. Like, they must have their life figured out, which I'm sure you don't, but nobody does. But people, it's always easy to think that somebody else has got it figured out more than we do, but the secret is none of us do. But with this wolf here, I definitely think that you have a very intense energy about you that's like kind of protective, but also like if you live with family, for example, I feel like you're very protective of your family. You're very family oriented, and I think that people might like that. But also you just have this like intense stare. You could have really like pretty eyes, like big eyes or smoldering eyes or something like that. They could be like super blue or really brown, where they're like they look almost black or something like that. You could have any type of eyes, but I think that your eyes are something that people really get drawn to. And I'm hearing this song Hungry Like the Wolf, which is also kind of about somebody wanting to sleep with somebody, I think. So yeah, I think a lot of people are just really, really interested in you in that way. But I definitely do feel like there's this aloof energy to you, where like you're happy to be around people and have a good time with people, but you don't really let people in on what's going on inside in your heart. I feel like you don't even like to explore that sometimes, but I definitely think that that is something that adds to like your mysteriousness, and that people are just like, oh, I won't really want to get to know pile 4 more. I would not be surprised if you're the type of person who gets in a lot of like friends with benefits situations, because I feel like you don't really extend yourself emotionally to people a lot. You only do it when it's worth it, and when you feel like it's something worth going for. And maybe you're just right now building your confidence back up to even do something like that. But I feel like the stingray, especially with it being a water card, is a positive sign that you're heading in the right direction in terms of like your attitude and your approach to relationships, and how the type of person you want to be in your life. Like, you're starting to find yourself, and I think that that is one thing that is making you even more attractive. But moving on, we also have number 37, the Rainbow Bridge, and 71, which is interesting because we have 17 here, body as a house. So I definitely think that you guys, like I said, are very physical. And because of that, I feel like as you guys are passing these spiritual tests and you're like evolving, you're starting to kind of see how your body is like an extension of your soul. And I feel like you're just experiencing life more spiritually, which is really awesome. And I think it's adding a layer of depth to your life that you didn't have before, that's giving your life more meaning. And I think it's creating this almost sort of glow that not everybody can see, but people that are intuitive definitely can see it. And with this body as a house, I think that you're prioritizing your health a lot more than you once were. And I think that that is something that a lot of people find attractive. I also think that's something that Spirit is commending you for, just really working on that and working on making yourself stronger, like mind, body, spirit. But also with that rainbow bridge, I think this goes to show how courageous you truly are, because the rainbow bridge really talks about stepping into the unknown and being unsure, but still going for it anyway. And I think that that just goes to show how powerful you guys are, Pile 3, is that you're willing to take that step and follow your gut, even if you don't know exactly where it's leading you to. But I think the more that you do that, the more, the stronger you grow as a person, or like the stronger your spiritual presence is and your ability to connect to spirit is. And I think that just makes you more attractive because you have this energy that's more sure of yourself and more like confident. And I actually think that will help you in like business endeavors and in your career life, because you're gonna be more secure in yourself. You're gonna know what you want, and you're not gonna take no for an answer in business related things. Consent is important, but I mean, like in terms of like life and going after what you want and going after your dreams and your goals, you can do it. Like Pile 3, like you guys got it. You've got like the it factor that you need to accomplish your goals. And I hope that you know, like, you really are, you're a special breed, and never stop being, you guys, because first of all, I love fire energy and y'all have a lot of it, even if you don't have any fire in your chart. But there is definitely a magnetism, that is the word I was looking for. You have a very magnetic aura where people just feel drawn to you. It's part of your warmth, of your energy and things like that. I can't believe it took me till the end, but yeah, you have a very magnetic aura is what I was trying to say. And the way you express yourself physically, you're very physically attractive, and your ambition and just the way that you approach the world and are willing to take a bite out of life rather than sit in fear about life taking a bite out of you. You know, you're just like, whatever, I'm gonna keep vibing on Pile 3. So to finish off this reading, I'm just going to pull you guys a little advice card from Spirit and see what they want you to know at this time. This doesn't necessarily have to be related to the reading. I just kind of wanted to give them the opportunity to give you a little message. So Pile 3, Spirit, what do you want Pile 3 to know at this time, please? Okay. Get centered. When it gets to be too much, whatever it is, I close my eyes and return to my center. In my center, I have the wisdom and tranquility of a, put favorite animal here, holding a magical item, floating through space on a piece of furniture. So I'll leave you guys to fill in those blanks, but I think that Spirit is saying when your energy is a bit too much and you might feel too scattered, take time to get centered, which is probably what I needed to do before this reading specifically, but now I feel fine. Yeah, you guys are fun. You're a lot of fun to be around. I really enjoyed like channeling your energy. So if you ever worry that like you're not enough or that people don't want to be around you, I promise you that's not true. So I am going to leave this reading here, Pile 3. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how it resonates. I would love to hear. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through and for letting me read your cards. I wonder if I already said that. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you left a like. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribed and joined our ever-growing fam. I can't believe there's 70,000 of you. Thank God at least like 70,000 people have good taste. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. So I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, Pile 4. Thank you so much for joining me. these are your tarot cards, which is what we're going to start with in terms of what makes you attractive, and then we will have oracles as we go along. So just to start, you definitely are very physically attractive. Like, let's just say that like right now. With the tower being here, I feel like you have that ability to have like a show-stopping presence. You might be one of those people who really likes to just kind of slum it, bum it out, and dress very relaxed and like in sweats most of the time. But when you're ready to turn it out and look really good, people are like shooketh by how attractive you are. But I think that you're the type of person that has that natural beauty, and so it's almost kind of like unfair when you get like start looking this nice and people are like, seriously, like could you just maybe tone down being that visually perfect? Like, thanks. But anyway, you guys are very powerful, very spiritually powerful, and very very hardworking. You might notice too, good luck might seem to follow you after really shitty events, and really shitty things might happen to people who wrong you. I feel like that is the work of your ancestors. So if you leave any offerings for them or you spend time with them, I would just, say, hey, thanks for always looking out for me. But yeah, you guys are very spiritually powerful, and that's part of what makes you so attractive. You could be a tarot card reader, or you could just have a very spiritual nature about you. You could be very intuitive. You could practice witchcraft or something like that, or like alchemy. But you're definitely people who know how to make it happen. And I think what's interesting is that you've definitely overcome a lot, and you've blossomed so well and really just taken so much in stride. Like, nothing can truly shake you. And if anything does, you always land with 2 feet on the ground. And what's even better is that it seems like good things just happen to have, just like good things happen to come your way after really difficult periods of time. If you're a single parent, I feel like people are really impressed by how much time you dedicate to your family and how hard you work for them. There's definitely an energy of you being a hard worker here no matter what. And I think people are very impressed by that. And I think that they're also impressed by your ability to turn like a disaster and just make it all better. Like, you know how to clean up after big messes. You know how to do the dirty work, and like, I know this sounds like it shouldn't be attractive, but like, you're just somebody who gets it done. And you're the type of person who like doesn't sit and complain and whine about, things not going your way, or things like sucking. Like, you're the type of person to recognize when you're in a low and do the self-care that you need while you're in that low, but also appreciate when you're in a high, and value life's precious moments for what they are. I definitely think you're somebody who's very financially responsible, and people look at you as somebody who has like definitely earned the wealth that they have. If you don't have any yet, I feel like this is Spirit's sign of saying that people look at you as somebody who will be successful and that you do have the abilities to do that. If you have titties, I think that they could be exceptionally round, or I guess it could be T or A. You might have a very nice butt or tits, and I think that people might really like that. It doesn't really matter what you identify as, but I think if you have round things on you, people like that. And that might be your head. People might just like your brain. I think that one attractive thing about you is the way you style your hair. For some, I feel like it might be like braids or dreadlocks, but for others, I feel like maybe it's just a natural way of wearing your hair, or the specific like a style that you do a lot, something like that. but there's an immense amount of personal power just within you that people can innately sense. And I feel like people feel some fear around you because you can suss out a lie like that. And especially if you're a parent, I feel like you know when your kids are like full of shit or something, like right away. You're like, okay, what's going on? Something sus. But I also think that you just have this very nurturing energy about you that you certainly don't give to everyone, because I feel like you're the type of person who knows how to play any role in life, if that makes sense. Like, especially if you're like a single parent, you know how to be like a provider, a protector, a nurturer. Like, you do all of it. And I think that you have this really uncanny ability, no matter what your environment, like no matter what environment you're in, to connect with the people in that environment. So like, you know, if you're at like a really stuffy party, you know how to like turn on the charm and be very good at small talk. But like, if you know, if you're with family, you know how to integrate well with that. Like, it's just like you have a very malleable personality. You could have like mutable energy to you, but I also think that you're really good at time management and organization. And I feel like a lot of people look to you as somebody that they need in their life. Like they don't know what they would do without you because you're so special. And I think that you could be really good at, if you're like an artist of some kind, like if you sculpt or something, you might be really talented at that. You could just be talented at art, or like baking or cooking or something like that, where people like really love your food. And like that's something that makes people like fall in love with you. Like just the way you make food, they're like, oh my god, like pile 4, I need to have them forever. But let's go ahead and start looking at some more of your oracle cards. So we also have Messiah, serving humanity with humility, and mentor, passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. So yeah, I think that you really just have this uncanny ability to give out words of wisdom and advice to other people. I also think that you can use, I think because you have a really good sense of what other people are thinking and feeling, you can be manipulative, but I don't think you ever do it in like a nefarious way. Maybe you did when you were younger, not judging, but I feel like now you do it more like, I'm almost thinking of like this specific example, like you might be throwing a party for someone, and so you've got to really like make them believe that they're doing this thing at this time and pretend like nothing's happening so they don't find out about the party. Like, I feel like you're really good about making surprises and going out of your way to help people. With this Messiah here, serving humanity with humility, I think just one of the things that people really appreciate about you is that you do the things that nobody else wants to do, and you don't complain about it. You're just that person who is willing to help others, and you're so wise, and you've earned that wisdom just by honestly overcoming really difficult things in life and just the natural passing of time. I feel like you age like fine wine. Like, the older you get, the more attractive you are. And people are just like, people might also think that you don't age, like, and they're like, you know, how are you XYZ, like you look so much younger than that or whatever. But I definitely think that a lot of people look to you as somebody with a lot of great advice, somebody that's very wise. And I think the fact that you are so compassionate and helpful towards others and willing to just like, you know, you don't complain. Like, you're not a whiny person. You really just, you put your money where your mouth is and you get shit done. And I think that a lot of people just find that attractive because it's something that not a lot of people can say. Like, I'll be like, I'm a whiny ass bitch sometimes. Like, there are things where I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that, or I just, nope, it's not happening. But you're the type of person, like, I need to be more like this, where if something needs to get done, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna get it done. Like, nobody else is. So you're that type of person. You don't rely on anybody else. You're incredibly independent and resourceful, and you always land on your own 2 feet. And you have this like really uncanny ability to make people question themselves and be like, I feel like people think that they really have their shit together until they're around you, and then they're like, wow, like, I wish I had my shit that together. I feel like I had something else and then I lost it. Damn. Okay, moving on. We also have the thinking man and mirror. Who or what is triggering you? So I think this makes a lot of sense because I think that it is triggering for a lot of people to realize, like, because I feel like we all want to believe that we work hard and we do our best, but you're the type of person, I feel like, you know, maybe you have like really good handwriting, or you just seem to do things very effortlessly, or you're just naturally really good at a lot of things. And I feel like that kind of pisses people off sometimes because they're just jealous. Like, literally, they're just jealous. And they're just like, how are they able to do things so well? Like, they must think that you don't sleep or something. And maybe you don't. Maybe you have trouble sleeping. But I feel like what a lot of people find attractive about you is how wise you are. They feel safe with you. They feel like, you know, you can conquer anything. You can handle anything, and they can trust you. And also, you can make anything happen. Oh, yeah, I remember the message now. I don't know why, but like the names like Gigi, Cece, and Mimi started like being brought out to me. So if those have any significance, like, I guess I just was supposed to throw that out there. But I think that people really don't appreciate how smart you are, because you can be a hard worker, but you know, you might not be good at prioritizing your time or doing things in a really productive way, but you're able to do that because you're intelligent. And I feel like people really don't realize that, because I feel like they look at you from a perspective of just being really responsible, really resourceful, able to get things done. But I think what's really attractive is when people get closer to you, they really get to see how your brain works, and how intellectual you are, and how insightful you are, and how you're always thinking of others as well, which I think is so sweet and so kind. And I think that people really love that about you. You have this very approachable, nurturing energy, which is really interesting because you are so physically attractive, that it's like, you know, a lot of times people are intimidated by that. But I think with you, because you have this also nurturing, like Queen of Pentacles energy that's really loving, it balances itself out really well. Like, if you were the type of person who had like a resting bitch face all the time, like, which there's nothing wrong with that, but if you like, your energy makes you a lot more approachable than most people that are as physically attractive as you, if that makes sense. But yeah, you have a really, really intellectual mind. Like, I guess one specific that I'm hearing is like Libra moon or Capricorn moon, or Gemini moon. But I definitely think that people really just admire how generous, how giving, how willing you are to help others and guide others, even when it's not really your job to do that. But I think that just goes to show how mature you are. And sometimes you just might be really frustrated because, like, you don't understand why sometimes people are dicks to you. And it's literally because you trigger them, because you're such a perfect human being that it's very triggering to them. And you're gonna be like, I'm not perfect, I have problems. I'm gonna say, okay, you know what? Sit down, because yeah, you're pretty dang close to perfect, and you need to start seeing yourself as that, because you are so perfect that it literally triggers other people. So yeah, you also are a powerful manifester, and I feel like you can create things and make things happen that not a lot of people can, and I feel like that causes them to look at you with envy. And even if you're not a single parent, if you're just a parent in general, I think that a lot of people just really see that you have a passion for that, and that you really are a good parent, and yeah, people find that really attractive. But moving on, we also have the Vulture and the Spider. So I understand that these two cards might not be the most ideal in terms of like attractiveness, but they have important meanings. The first one being that the Vulture really speaks to the Messiah a lot, in terms of a vulture also does all the dirty work that nobody wants to do. And I feel like this goes to show, one, how misunderstood you are. Like, people don't realize how important your presence is, and I feel like they might take you for granted at times. But I think that what's important to remember is that your place in life is so valuable, and it's part of what makes you special. And that's what makes what makes you attractive, is that people are like, if people like pile 4 can exist, then at least we have something to shoot for, something to attain, because you guys are like just really stand-up human beings, and I think that's part of just what makes you very like attractive. But moving on to this spider, you're very detail oriented and can be very like meticulous in how you create things. And I mean, this goes back to that really like all that hard work that you do. You might be very conscious of how you decorate your home or how you like things to look. You could have very specific aesthetic tastes. I feel like people are really impressed by your style and the way that like everything is. You might have just like a very visually appealing home, or you decorate it really well, but I think people are very impressed by your eye for design and your eye for detail, and they might want you to be their like interior designer. But yeah, with that vulture, I definitely think you're misunderstood, just in the sense that like there's kind of a sadness with this pile to me, because I feel like you just don't get like people don't give you the affirmations that you deserve all the time, because I feel like people are lucky enough to not realize how awful it would be if you weren't in their life. And so if nobody said it to you recently, you know, thank you, pile 4, for being yourself, because you really make a lot of people's lives better, and you genuinely, you keep the world going round, and the people might not always see the impact that you have, but I hope you know that people genuinely appreciate you, and they might not say it physically all the time, but you are a very special person and very important, and a lot of people would struggle and suffer if you weren't in their lives. So, you know, you might feel like what you're doing is pretty thankless, or, you know, you don't always get the praise you deserve, and I agree, you don't get the praise you deserve, but I hope I can just make that a little better by saying that you really do help so many people, and you just really like, I don't know, I'm just like overwhelmed with how gracious you guys are and how giving you guys are, and you really do have this energy of, even if things don't feel like they'll be okay, you make things okay. You help guide others, you help serve others, and you're not afraid to like really, you can walk the walk just as well as you talk the talk. And I think that not a lot of people can say that, and I think that they have to take a double look at themselves when they see how fucking awesome you guys are. But looking further at your oracle cards, we have Everything Will Be Okay and Share Tenderness. And I love these 2 cards because I think that goes to show how nurturing your presence is. You have this energy about you that just makes it feel like, even when there's a tower moment or things are just falling apart, your energy makes people feel like everything will be okay. And you have this really amazing ability to connect with people that not a lot of people have. Like, if you have kids, like, you connect with your kids on such an amazing level. If you have animals, you connect with them really well. With your partner, you connect with them really well. And I think that you just have kindness for everyone and everything. You are like a kill them with kindness type of person, which is awesome. We need more of those people. And that's why people might get triggered by you sometimes, is because you are that like kill them with kindness type of person. And I think that your disposition is generally sunny, and I think that it comes from a place of you seeing shit get really rough and seeing shit get really hard, but knowing that everything will be okay at some point. And like, I feel like it mainly comes from a personal decision to not want to live your life in fear or being negative, because you know that like your time is limited and you might as well enjoy it while you're here. And so I think that people just really love being around you. They feel safe being around you. I mean, I'm really getting a lot of like, you don't have to be a parent to like, for this pile to resonate, but I just feel like there's just a lot of energy coming from like kids or like grown up kids that just really appreciate you if you're a parent, like because you really have gone out of your way to make their life good and make them feel better. And so yeah, I think that's just worth noting, that you really do have this kind and gentle, pure soul. And you know, nobody gives you enough credit for how strong you are, because you really had to like overcome a lot and really be mature to treat people the way that you do, in such a kind way, even when they may not give you the same credit. So before we finish off this reading, I'm going to pull you guys a card, a message from Spirit, anything they might want you to know. This doesn't have to be related to the reading, but okay. Well, would you look at that? We have a Perseverance, which I think you guys already know a lot about. It seems you're on a massive journey right now, and this card has arrived to remind you that you will reach the other side. The mountain you're climbing is huge and formidable, but so is your ability to climb it. You don't need to enjoy it, you just need to tackle it. Complain if it makes the job easier. Blow off steam. You think mountain climbers get to the top of Everest on inspirational quotes? No way. They're grunting and crying and cursing like freaking pirates. That just doesn't sell a lot of posters. So yeah, I definitely think this is Spirit's encouragement of whatever you're doing, especially if you're like an entrepreneur or something, that like you're getting there. Just keep going. But yeah, your tenderness, your grace, your ability to just be there for others and work hard and be humble and kind really just sets you apart from the crowd. And like you're just overall a really awesome person. And I think that anybody in your life is really lucky to know you, because yeah, you're great. So I'm gonna leave this reading here, pile 4. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how it resonates. I would love to hear. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave it a like. And if you would like to, and you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribed. Thank you guys so much for letting me read your cards. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 5. Thank you so much for joining me. I have this weird pause because I don't have a crystal, because I'm usually like, and if you chose this, but I don't have that. So excuse me if I fumble with my words a little bit, but we are going to be looking at what makes you attractive, and we are going to start with your tarot cards, which I already have out here. So I really love this energy, because I definitely feel like you are somebody that's just a lot of fun to be around. And I think that your personality is very refreshing, especially in places where like you can make the DMV fun. That's the department, or BMV, Bureau of Motor Vehicles, if you're unsure of what I'm saying. But you have this ability, like even in the most boring places, to bring a lot of fun and just good energy to anywhere you go. You might be a serial dater. You don't have to be, but I do think that you have a lot of romantic interests. You could be a Gemini with the Lovers here, but I definitely think that you leave a lot of romantic interests. You don't leave a lot of romantic interests, but you just have a lot of romantic interests because of like your physical appearance on top of the way that you carry yourself and how you talk to others. I think that you have a very awesome way of socializing, and I think that you might have a really solid friend group, and people might view you and your friend group as like a friend group they wish that they could be a part of. But you're kind of a ride or die person, and I think that's how people really appreciate you, is because like you definitely don't judge people based on who they are or what they have. Like you're the type of person who's willing to like suffer together. Like, you know, if you're suffering, I'll suffer with you. Like you really work hard to be a good person and a good friend to the people in your lives, and you have so much fun doing it. You might be a little bit of a daredevil or a risk taker, or you could just be very bold. And I think that people find that attractive because it's like at times you're really not afraid to put yourself out there and show the world what you can do. You could be like a student or just starting out in some type of career. And I think you've already like really started to make a name for yourself or make your presence known. I think one thing that people really admire about you is the fact that you are a hard worker, but you're type of like a work hard, play hard type of person, and you know how to have a good time. Like, let's just say that. I think that a lot of people might view you as like the one that got away, or like as an ideal type of partner. But I feel like for you, it's really hard for you to find that type of person that you truly connect with. I do think that when people cross you, you do have an uncanny ability to ice them out, which in turn, I think makes people be kind of intimidated and fear you a little bit. So I don't know how you feel about that, but it's just a vibe I'm picking up on. But at the very least, people would much rather be on your good side because you're a lot of fun to be around, and I think that people genuinely enjoy spending time with you. If you work, like your coworkers or student or like fellow students or whatever, I feel like they really just enjoy having you in their office or their class. I think that you contribute and you make things fun. You don't take life too seriously, and I think that you, when you're one-on-one with people, you really know how to make people open up and connect with them. So I think that's really cool. You just have this really interesting energy, and I don't want any of you to take this as an insult, but I almost feel like you guys have like the same energy as like Donkey from Shrek, but maybe not in like an irritating and annoying way. It's just you have this infectious, happy personality that seems to come out even when times are tough and like you're really not feeling good in life. And I think that's just what's really awesome, is that I feel like this Knight of Wands energy is something that is so true to your core and who you are, and that Gemini energy as well. I feel like you could be really witty and make a lot of good quips and like comebacks and stuff, and I think that people find that really attractive about you as well. You definitely are not one to fear a challenge, and you will stand up for yourself and stand up for the people around you. And so I think that's why people like genuinely love you, is because like if you truly believe in someone or something, you will fight for it no matter what. And I think that that's just what makes you so fun to be around, because it's like no matter what environment you may be in, no matter what's going on, like you're still you, and you don't compromise that for anything. And I think that's a good thing. Spirit likes that you embrace who you truly are. You don't tone down who you are for anybody. And I think that's a good thing. I think that is something that really gives you an edge and like makes you just more badass, because you're not willing to sacrifice who you are to make somebody else feel comfortable. And like, snaps to that, queens and kings. Okay. Looking further, we also have Saboteur. Highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring into your life. And Slave. Surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. And so I think that this is an interesting change within you, because I think at one point in life, you were very angry at the world and probably very angry at other people, maybe like unfairly, but you know, nobody's perfect, everybody makes mistakes. And I think that this really goes to show how much growth you've done. Even if you don't think that you've grown, you most certainly have. Because I think that partially you've learned to surrender to the universe. I think that you're getting out of this like scarcity mindset that's really actually helping you a lot. And I think that one thing that people find attractive about you is that, first of all, you can ball on a budget. Like, you can make anything look expensive, which is a skill. And I'm thinking of Dolly Parton, where she's like, I spend a lot of money to look this cheap. I feel like you guys do the opposite. You save a lot of money, but you look really expensive. But yeah, I feel like this has like fuck the patriarchy energy. And like, you could totally be like a guy and be chill with the patriarchy, but I think that you're just somebody who's just like, fuck rules. Like, I don't care about any of that. And I feel like you guys are finally taking the reins of your own life, and I hope that feels really good, because it should. And even if you don't feel like it, you're definitely on the cusp of doing it, or you're already doing it, you just don't realize it. But yeah, people are starting to see how much personal power you actually wield, And now you're kind of, instead of like resisting what life is throwing at you, instead you're just kind of like being like, all right, let me just go with the flow now and just see what happens. Whereas I feel like in the past you might have been not a control freak, but I definitely think that you might have been particular about certain things and might like them a certain way because you do have like a strong personality. But I feel like as you've experienced life, maybe as you've fallen in love or experienced different things, you're learning how to be more open to compromise, but also like not try to control things. Like you're just kind of allowing things to happen now and getting more of a chill vibe while still being fun. And I think that's really awesome. And one thing that I just love is that you guys are really unafraid of being yourself and don't care about social conventions and what you should be doing and what should be right. Like you're living your life according to you. Like this is pile five's life. Like we're all just living in it. You guys really are going somewhere, and I feel like you guys are on the cusp of like some kind of major breakthrough. So be on the lookout for that. That's kind of like something that Spirit is calling to me. But continuing on now, we have a woman holding a heart and the Great Gathering. So you don't have to be a woman, but I definitely think that, first of all, you have a very rich love life, and I think that people look at you as somebody who either is always with somebody or can get whoever they want. But I think that, honestly, your energy to me is more like, you like getting to know people, but truly giving somebody your heart, you really protect that. And you know that, like, there's only certain people worthy of it. But I think one really cool thing about you with this Great Gathering, it's all coming together, intuitive hits soul tribe, is that even if you don't have like a really strong family connection, or if you have a hard time connecting with your family, you've created this really cool network of friends that are your family. And I think that part of your like heart, a big part of your heart is not romantic interests, but like people that are just gonna be like best buddies of yours forever. And I think that a lot of people who get to be really close to you just love that you they just love you for all that you are. They're just like, yep, that's pile five. Like you're not very predictable, and sometimes they don't know what you're gonna do or what's gonna happen, but it's usually pretty entertaining, and at least they know that you have their backs, and you know you're gonna protect them and you're gonna fight for them and do what's right, and you won't do that for just anybody, so they know that like that's something really special. But I think that you have a really good group of people around you, or if you don't, that's coming, and I think that's gonna make you feel a lot more secure in yourself. But I think that if you already have that, a lot of people might be like kind of jealous of your friend group and like might want to be like, oh, I want to be part of like pile five's group, like they're so cool or something like that. But yeah, you also have an uncanny intuition, and I feel like you might not realize it, but you make these split decisions about people, or these ideas come to your head. I'm feeling like specifically claircognizance-esque, or maybe clairaudience, but I feel like you get these messages or intuitive hits about people, and you just kind of know right away, like, oh yeah, that's somebody that's meant to be in my life, or like I need to stay the hell away from that person. But you also have that energy where you kind of like a challenge. So I feel like at times you'll see somebody and you'll be like, you look like you're gonna ruin my life. Like, hi, what's your name? Like, you almost kind of like being thrown for a ride and like seeing what happens. And there's definitely no danger of you guys not living your life to the fullest, because you clearly are. And I think it really doesn't matter how much money you have or what you're doing. Like, you're living your life and you're actually living it. So I think that's one thing that's really attractive about you and that Spirit wants to commend you for, is that you really know how to like grab life by the cojones and just dig in there, I guess. Anyway, we also have the Scorpion and the Firefly. So I feel like this goes to show how witty you can be, and you can roast the shit out of people. Let's just be honest. You've probably created some not so happy people. Not created not so happy people, but made people not so happy because of things that you've said, like just roasting them. And like, here's the funny thing, like I feel like you don't just like randomly roast people. I feel like people ask for it, and then you dish out what they gave to you, and then they don't like it so much, and then they're just like kind of like meh, like pile 5 meh, like they're just mad that you got them good. But yeah, with this Firefly, you have bursts of inspiration that end up becoming like, if you act on them, really great and really fantastic. But if you don't act on them, I feel like Spirit is saying that you need to more, because they could lead you to a lot more success. But also with this Firefly, I feel like that's where more of that like claircognizance comes in, because I feel like Spirit really tries to communicate with you through intuitive downloads, and it translates into these like bursts of realization where like a light bulb goes off and you're like, oh. And I feel like one thing that people see about you is that you can shine so brightly, but at times you are really hard on yourself. And I think that's what makes people feel sad sometimes, like the people that really love you, is because, you know, they know you at your natural self. And so when you're not feeling that way, they're kind of like, oh man, like how can we get pile 5 feeling better again? Because they really need to feel that way. But I think you have a lot of people's hearts in like a platonic way and in a romantic way. But I think that you are very selective with who you share your heart with. But with the Scorpion, like you're definitely very passionate, and you're somebody who knows what they want. And I think that that is really attractive. And even when you don't know what you want, you're the type of person who could be like, I don't know what I want, but I'll figure it out once I find it. There's something about you where you're just very in tune with what your gut is telling you, whether you realize it or not. And then you're able to just be like, oh, yep, it's this thing, or I want that thing, or whatever. So that's really cool about you. And I think that words with you, you know how to use them, and you know how to rip somebody to shreds if you want to. Truthfully, I do think at times you might hold grudges, and then people might confront you like, why are you being weird, or like, why are you being passive aggressive, and then you just like let it all loose, and it might sting a little bit. But I also think it makes people like respect you, because you are willing to put up with yourself, and that in turn makes you attractive. But maybe at times Spirit wants you to be more like upfront with how you're feeling and not internalize it. You know, obviously like don't be like confrontational and like whatever, but I mean, do what you want. I'm not your boss, but I think that like maybe holding on to things that aren't serving you could at times create distress that you just don't need. But we also have Pink Bubble Fairy and Repopulation. And I love that these came out, because Pink Bubble Fairy really does talk more about having a really rich imagination and being very spiritually protected. And I think that that's one important thing to know, is that you are very spiritually protected. But you do have this really sweet side to you that you don't show a lot of people, but it's like really cute. And when you do show people, I feel like it softens your energy in a way that just makes you even more adorable and lovable. And I don't think very many people get to see it. So when they do, they feel really lucky for being able to see that side of you. But with the Repopulation, I feel like you know how to like rejuvenate and revitalize people. Like you're really good at pep talks and giving like motivational speeches for other people. And I also think that you are slowly learning how to take breaks, and you're learning self-care. And I think the people around you are having a lot of fun doing like self-care with you. It's interesting for you guys. I just get a lot of like, you have a lot of good people in your life, and if you don't, you will. And yeah, I feel like your closest friends are really gonna serve an important role in communicating messages from Spirit that they are not realizing that they're communicating. But Spirit's gonna kind of use your friends to get you to realize things that you might be too stubborn to listen to from them. So just be aware of that. But yeah, I think that you have this really wonderful ability to just make people feel revitalized again and refreshed. And I think now that you're starting to see your own worth and recognizing that you're worthy of all the things that you fight for others. You're starting to prioritize like your own needs and your own care. And I think that in turn just makes you more attractive because you're being more confident in yourself and you're asserting your needs and your wants. And you're just being a fierce, awesome person who is living their life, going after what they want and having fun while they're doing it. So I think that's just really awesome. But before we close out this reading, I'm just going to get a quick message from Spirit and see if there's anything they want you guys to know. So I haven't done a reading in a couple days. I just kind of wanted to make sure Spirit has their chance to communicate with you. So Spirit, what do you want pile 5 to know at this time? Okay, that guy really wanted to come out. Spontaneity. Do you like spontaneous adventures of the highest caliber? I feel like you're going to say yes. The only acceptable answer to this question is yes. So buckle up, Charlie. You are about to take a wild ride through the unexplored, the unconventional, and the underrated. You're about to learn that yes is a magic word with the power to unlock new dimensions in space and time and after hours hangouts. Yeah, I definitely feel like you're going to have a lot of those. Yes will lead you to experiences you didn't think possible, and teach you that lifelong friendships are sometimes lurking just behind a karaoke singer's mullet. That's there's this asterisk says there's a pretty good chance your name is not Charlie, but good luck, Charlie. That's all I can say. But yeah, I think this is perfect because if you're watching this and you're like, I don't know if this is all me, it sounds like me and it sounds like who I want to be. This is Spirit saying like, nah, dog, this is you. It's just time to embody that. Get out of your head a little bit and stop being afraid to just explore life and have fun. Be that Knight of Wands. Fuck it up, Queen or King. You've got this. So pile 5, I'm going to leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through. If you did, I really hope you enjoyed it. Definitely let me know down in the comments how it resonates. I would love to hear. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribed and left me a like. Thank you so much for letting me read your cards. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you are watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 6. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We are looking at what makes you guys so attractive, and you guys really said save the best for last, huh? And I'm kind of kidding because like all the piles are amazing, but there's some heavy hitters in this pile. I just have to say there's a lot of really powerful energy here. A lot of air signs, also Capricorn, but especially Libra and Aquarius. But you could also have Gemini placements as well. What makes you guys attractive? Okay, so here's all my smart people. You guys are very intelligent. It's abundantly evident in the way you talk, in the way that you carry yourself, in the line of work that you do, or if you're not working at it, if you're a student, the type of things you're studying, or even if you're just not doing anything, like you're just somebody very smart. Like there are those people that, you know, are just philosophers and they live in like in like a tent and they just do philosophy all day. Like you're just somebody very smart, no matter what you have or what you're doing. That's something that people are immediately aware of. And something that's kind of interesting that I note in Justice and the King of Swords is that you do have this like energy about you that's very hyper vigilant and on guard. It's almost like you're waiting for somebody to test your intellectual abilities or test what you're saying, and you're always ready to like disarm that shit. You might even have like a sibling or a close friend that you constantly like banter with, and so I feel like that might, or you have like debates with, you know, oh my gosh, you guys have devil's advocate energy, which is a good thing and sometimes a frustrating thing depending on the topic, but it's needed. And I definitely think you have that energy because you like looking at both sides of something. You like looking at all perspectives. And truth be told, that's a really good thing because you like to make decisions based upon what makes the most logical sense and like from multiple different perspectives. But what's really interesting about you is that despite being so like logical and kind of like blunt, not in like a mean way or anything, it's just that like you have this energy of, I feel like saying what you see is what you get doesn't do it justice, but there's like a, on first glance or first appearance, you have this energy that's very like, I'm here, this is me, that's it. But what you don't realize is that you have this very ethereal nature about you. Like, eyes follow you, and people are very aware of you even when you're not of them. Like, you do things so effortlessly, and like, for example, I don't know why I'm getting the example of like a bartender or something like that. Like, you could be doing that shit and mixing drinks or whatever, and people are just like looking at you like, oh my god, pile 6, like, how do they make drinks that attractively? Like, I feel like you have this natural magnetism, which that was a word I was trying to find in a different pile, but you guys have it as well. You have this natural magnetism about you that just draws people to you. You just naturally have a light, and it might be in the way you laugh, or like the way your eyes kind of sparkle when you're talking about something that you feel passionate about. But you're almost like kind of like a crusader for justice in a cool way. You might work in a law field, or you might just be somebody that likes to do right by others and want equality. But I feel like you have this strong sense of morality, and I think that's what makes people trust you. And even if you haven't had that in the past, I feel like you're gaining that, and that's something that's making you more respectable. But here's what's so funny about that as well, because we do have this double card here. You guys know how to have a good time. And I think partially it might enter problematic territory, only because I think existing in your brain can be kind of overwhelming sometimes, because it's always going a mile a minute. And I feel like you might lean towards substances as like an excuse or a way to just kind of escape that. You know, no judgment here. I don't blame you. But I do think it's something that Spirit is highlighting, because one, I think that you maybe tend to at times get like too inebriated or something like that, and but here's what's funny is, like, you might be embarrassed of what you did, but at the same time people enjoy that aspect of you as well. You might not, and you might want to change that, and that's fine. But if you don't, and that's just a part of you, it should be known. You know how to have fun at the very least, and I think that a lot of people really enjoy just being around you. You're not someone to be trifled with, that's for sure. And I feel like people look at you as someone with a good head on their shoulders, or at least a good head of hair. They see you as somebody very intelligent and really can honestly outwit anybody. Like, I don't know. I feel like Beth Harmon from like the Queen's Gambit would like pick this pile. She's like, I don't know. You've got that energy of being very resilient and very smart, and just very like good at what you do, whatever it is that you do. And I almost feel like the people, I feel like I'm channeling people that have like a crush on you or something, because I feel like the words I'm being fed are very simple, because I feel like when people are around you, they're intimidated by your ability to communicate, and they're intimidated by just your presence and your aura. And so then I feel like the people that have crushes on you are like, oh, I don't know what to say. Like, they're cute, they're smart, they're funny. But I mean, for me, I'm like, okay, I need more nuances here. Like, what's actually going on? What's so attractive about pile 6? But I think you're just a whole package in terms of like, you have this very commanding presence, whether you try to portray that or not. You carry yourself in a very level-headed way that's very fair and gracious, but you're not a person to be like fucked with. But at the same time, you know how to let your hair loose and like be fun and crazy. But you work really, really hard. And so it's like, you know, you deserve to have those times where you just, like I said, let your hair down and relax, because you honestly need it. I feel like at times you might take life too seriously, and I think that you might use substances as a way to just get a brain break. But moving on to some of your oracles, we also have the Hermit. Seek solitude to focus intently on inner life, serves personal creativity, and priest. Facilitates spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. So you could be naturally spiritual or have a close connection to spirit. I definitely think you're the type of person that disappears when they need to. And you're not somebody who consistently, like, excluding like family or friends so close that they are family, you're not necessarily somebody that needs people around you all the time. But I think people are like always want to know what's going on the inside. I think that you have such a powerful presence externally that you really don't get to showcase what's going on internally as much. And I think it's interesting because this reading is from the perspective of others, and I didn't specify who, so it could literally just be like a stranger on the street or like your best friend. And so I think that there's a lot of differing energies but like they all make sense. And I think at times maybe people, you might like drop off the face of the earth and people are like, oh, like what happened to pile 6? Like, but when you come back, people are just excited to see you again. And it's like you come back refreshed and like ready to handle life. But I definitely think you have a close communication with the spirit world. Like maybe you saw them growing up, or you just have this natural spiritual energy about you. I definitely think that people find that very attractive, but I also feel like you might struggle with that because I do feel like you are somebody who leads towards a life of like logic and understanding, and I feel like it makes you feel conflicted because on one side you kind of want that spiritual energy, but then your logical mind is like against it at times. So I guess if that's you, I get that, because like I have struggled with that at times. I'm not saying I'm as smart as you guys, but because you're really smart. But if you have trouble thinking about it in that way, just think about, like, first of all, there needs to be a healthy balance between logic and intuition and shit like that. But when it comes to like the spiritual world, science is important, especially when it comes to the physical world. And like science, especially like the scientific method and the way that we conduct science and like research in life now, it's very 3D based and based on what's the word? It's based on like experimental like data and shit. I'm like forgetting the word, so now I sound like a dumbass. But it's very observational, and it's about the 3D natural world. And spiritual understanding and spiritual guidance is much more internal. It's not something that can be standardized for an experiment, and it's not something you can observe or mess with. It's an internal journey. And I think that when you struggle with that spiritual part, just remember that, like, first of all, logic and science can coexist with spirituality and shit like that. But also, like the logical scientific perspective really only works on the 3D, the natural world, that which we can see and touch and experience. And you can't put an experiment on an individual journey. You can't standardize spirituality because it's a different experience for everyone. And it's honestly unfair to put human restrictions on something that isn't human at all. And so when you struggle with that, just remember that this is something not human. It's something bigger than our world. And while, yes, there is a place for logic, there is a place for reason, your intuition still has value, and you shouldn't make yourself feel crazy about the things that you feel intuitively and your connection with spirit, because honestly, the spirit world is so much more real than our physical world. And I might sound like a loon saying that, but it's true. And I didn't mean to go on that rant, but I do feel like for some of you, you might really push away that spiritual side of yourself, and in turn, I think that you suffer because you are denying a part of yourself. And what's interesting is, like, I feel like this star and this hermit are so similar. And so that's really why you need to go within and explore that, and explore it without judgment. Don't look at it from a reference of like, people are judging me. It's your internal world. You don't have to share it with anyone, but like really just getting to experience it without judgment and being open to it, it really can open up your world. So I'm sorry for going on that little rant if that was like, if that was too off topic for you guys, but I felt like some of you needed it. And so It's something that I've struggled with as well. So I really, like, honestly, I get it. So we have Lemuria creating heaven on earth. It's happening in reverse, and we have strategy. So other things that make you feel really attractive is that this actually came out in reverse, and I felt like it needed to be in reverse because I think this goes to show how kind of mysterious you are to a lot of people, but how so many people wish they were a part of your world and they're not. I feel like people see your life as really fun and really interesting, and even if you don't think it is, I think a lot more people wish they could be a part of your life, and so they kind of see your world as something unattainable that they wish they could be a part of, which adds to like your attraction and like your mystique and shit like that. But also with that strategy, I think that just goes to show your intelligence again. Like, you're somebody who could be like really good at like Dungeons and Dragons, or I don't know, like really, like, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, so I guess I don't really know. It looks really fun. I want to play it, but I feel like that's a game that really relies on strategy. I might be incorrect and I might sound like a fool, but you're somebody really smart, and you're somebody who really knows how to get what they want and make a plan and stick to that plan. And I think that just one thing that's really attractive for a lot of people is that you just, once you make a plan and you know how to stick to it, you're pretty much unstoppable, and you really have a great way of organizing things. And I think that people really admire that about you. But also, like, you might be really good at writing. Like, you might have a really good way with like words, and like you might have the ability to just make people fall in love with you with like your words. That can be kind of dangerous, but yeah, you're very good at speaking and like speech writing and stuff like that. So I think that people look at you as a very talented word person. But we also have the tarantula and the gazelle. So I think this speaks to your ability to be very graceful, but also that heightened sense of awareness that I was talking about earlier, where your brain is just kind of firing on all cylinders all the time. You're really taking in information all the time. And with that star in the gazelle, I think that just goes to show that you are very physically attractive, that people are like paying attention to you, paying attention to that ass. Like, you're somebody who moves very gracefully and has the ability to like, I don't know, like, I don't know why I'm thinking the word tantalize. Maybe it's just because tarantula's right here, but I feel like people just get like, what's the word? Hypnotized. They get hypnotized by your presence and like the way you move. But you're a really hard worker, and I feel like you are very meticulous and very critical of yourself, and I feel like you kind of make life a little bit harder for yourself because people can see all the beauty you've cultivated, but you refuse to be proud of yourself for getting to the point where you are now. So I feel like one thing that Spirit wants you to be more aware of is that you can be proud of your accomplishments, and you can be proud of like what you've done, because you really have done a lot, and you deserve to be proud of yourself. And I think that's part of just like what makes you very attractive. You could also just have like very long limbs, like you could have really long legs or really long arms, or you could just be like tall, or you don't even have to be tall, like spindly or something. I don't know what I was going with there, but I feel like people really like your body. You might be really fast. You might be a good runner or something like that. I'm not. Can't relate. Wish I had that. The only thing I run to is my fridge. But with this tarantula here, I feel like people see you and they see your capabilities, and I feel like you're on the cusp of living like your life's purpose. And I feel like you might be in this kind of uncomfortable stage right now because you are in this period of transition. So it's kind of interesting because I feel like this is about what makes you attractive, but at the same time, I feel like Spirit had more important messages for you. And I think that it just comes with like, I feel like the reason why they wanted to bring that up is because the tarantula talks about like being at a crossroads and finding your life's purpose. And so I think that you're getting there. And part of what's uncomfortable is I feel like you're getting those spiritual downloads more, and you're talking to Spirit more, and you're starting to listen to your gut and seeing where your life is being led and what your purpose is. And I feel like you might be struggling because old habits are very hard to break, and you might be feeling like you're outgrowing those habits, but at the same time you're afraid of letting go of them. And so I feel like Spirit is saying that it's okay to go at the pace that you want, but don't be afraid of change, and don't be so hard on yourself. You're really doing a great job, and you're a lot better off than you think you are, and like you're doing a lot better than you think you are. And I think Spirit's saying you'll get in what you put out, and you'll achieve whatever you want to. But I think maybe people might be like, you might be kind of dangerous person to fall in love with or pursue. So I think people might look at you as the devil because they're like, oh, that person might break my heart or something like that. But yeah, you know how to have fun, and you might be really kinky too. But yeah, I think that this just goes to show you might be somebody who's very like silent on their feet or something like that. But yeah, intelligence is the biggest thing that people find attractive about you, and just the way you communicate. You might have a really stern face or like a resting bitch face. I think people like that about you as well. But moving on now, we have number 10, can't be caught, and number 6, party leader. So yeah, you guys can definitely be the life of the party if you want to. And I think that's what's interesting. Like you like disappear for a couple weeks and then come out and like steal the show. People might get like pissed when they're like, oh, pile 6 is here. Like they're gonna be the icon the entire night. And I feel like part of like what is so attractive about you is that you are kind of untouchable. You have this vivacious personality that doesn't come out all the time, but when you want it to and when you're ready, it does. And you know how to take control of a room and have this really commanding presence, but at the same time disappear just as quickly. Like you're so hard to reach for some people. You just almost seem not real. And that's part of what makes you so attractive, is you're just like, you're just slightly out of reach and people just want to get to you. And you know how to have fun. You're funny, you're witty, you can carry on a conversation, and you are for damn sure incredibly interesting, and people love that about you. And I think that, you know, yeah, you're just a good time, whether you're chilling out on the couch watching something or being the life of the party. I think people just enjoy being around you. They enjoy being in your space. They're happy to see you when you're out. So I think that, yeah, people just are kind of naturally attracted to your light. There's so much star imagery here, and I think that just goes to show that you do have a very strong energetic light that you might not be aware of, and that you might not realize that people are attracted to you because of it. And you might actually attract a lot of people that are like kind of broken or like very sad and might kind of, or maybe like kind of energy vampire-esque, because you have this light. And I think that your logic actually hurts you in these cases, because that's kind of where you need to be more intuitive about things and be like, okay, I'm not getting good vibes here, or okay, these people are drawn to me because I have this energy, I am putting out this energy. So I don't know, that might not resonate, but if it does, like, just a little word of advice, it might help you suss out who's worth your time and who isn't, which I think you already have a good sense of that anyway. But I feel like because you are so logical, you might disregard your intuitive feelings until you have evidence, and then you might get yourself in trouble later. But before we finish off, I am going to shuffle a card for you guys to just be like a message from Spirit and see what they want you to know. I guess they already have thoughts, but we are here. I love that I was talking about this. No judgments. I release myself from any and all judgments. I find my inner critic, call it into my office, and tell it to take a vacation. As it leaves the room, I let out a sigh and begin to enjoy the joy of simply being. Who hired that guy anyway? That's exactly what I was talking about. And I love that Spirit said that, because that's literally them saying, like, hey, the only thing stopping you from really embracing your spiritual gifts and these talents is your logical brain telling you that it's all a bunch of wee-woo bullshit. And even if it is, if it makes you happy, then why not? That's my rationale, at least. This stuff makes me happy, and even if I look like a crazy person, I'm a lot happier, and my life is more fun when I'm not looking at things through just a logical lens. I think logic is good, but it can kind of suck the fun out of things sometimes. So yeah, don't be afraid to like really explore that. You don't have to tell anyone about it, just explore it. But if you're judging yourself, you're really doing yourself a disservice. So Yeah, I'm glad the spirit backed me up on that and said no judgment, because that needs to stop if you really want to explore your inner self. So I am going to leave this reading here, pile 6. Oh my goodness, this one really took a nosedive. I feel like I went on so many tangents, but thank you guys so much for watching it all the way through. If you did, you are definitely troopers. Definitely let me know down in the comments how it resonates. I would love to hear you badass pile 6s. And if you are interested, I would love it if you would subscribe to me and leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for letting me read your cards. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!